Let's stand and honor our great nation with the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Now for a moment of silence.
Here's Jake in Spain with this week's birthdays.
Happy birthday to
6th grader Riley Henderson, May 6th.
7th grader Tristan Stevenson, May 6th.
7th grader Callum Bonner, May 6th.
8th grader Caden Crawford, May 11th. Mrs. Harrison, May 11th.
7th grader Dylan McNutt, May 12th.
Happy birthday, everyone!
Let's kick it over to Jordan and Rachel to find out what's going on this week.
Now it's time for our week at a glance. Don't forget, Algebra 1 EOC is today. Also, if you're trying to become a library aide for next school year, applications are due Friday.
Now here's Addie with our Eagle of the Week.
6th grader Aiden Cobb, 7th grader Melanie Duran Garcia, 8th grader Ayana Lee, and the Eagle of the Month is 6th grader Christopher Fierro.
Here's Lily with the weather.
Thank you, Addie and Jake. Today looks mostly sunny with highs in the 80s and lows in the 60s. Now let's turn to the weekly forecast. This week is looking like a great week to go outside, with highs in the upper 80s and lows in the 60s. It's not looking very windy, and with that, let's turn back to Jake and Addie. Allie has a lot to say about Mr. Brown.
Let's turn to her.
Mr. Brown is an 8th grade science teacher here at FJH. His favorite branch of science is biology because it deals with nature and animals. Mr. Brown loves being a teacher here at FJH because it gives him an opportunity to make a positive impact on his students. When younger, Mr. Brown admired his teachers and gives them credit for inspiring him to pursue teaching as a career himself. To Mr. Brown, working with a great staff makes teaching even better. He thinks very highly of his fellow coworkers and is proud to teach beside them. Mr. Brown grew up in Tig, but attended Mejia School District throughout his whole school career. After graduating from Mejia, Mr. Brown went to Texas A&M Commerce in Navarro. In Mejia, Mr. Brown also played football and basketball, two of his favorite sports. Mr. Brown and his wife, who teaches at Tig ISD, have 2 kids, Lexi and Hannah. Mr. Brown's 8th grade science class is fun and engaging. Mr. Brown loves his job and is proud to be a Fairfield Eagle.
Now let's turn to Spain to learn about Mr. G.
Mr. Gorski is the principal at Fairfield Junior High. He grew up in Colleen, Texas, and is the middle child of 3 boys. They lived outside of town, so they were always playing sports, hunting, or fishing. At his house, they were very competitive, and they were always tearing someone or something up. He says that it seemed as though someone was always getting hurt or getting stitches. In high school, he played baseball and football. Mr. G went to Tarleton State University for a bachelor's degree in exercise and sports studies. Mr. G was fortunate enough to be able to play baseball during college. He was also a Purple Poo. The Purple Poos are a secret organization and is the oldest spirit group in the state of Texas. They consist of 20 members, 10 boys and 10 girls. Their mission is to encourage the spirit of Tarleton and enforce Tarleton traditions such as staying off the grass. The Purple Poos are very active on campus and go to many sporting events. Mr. G's favorite part of college was the lifelong friendships he was able to make. Before he became a principal, he was a coach and taught PE and English for 11 years. He coached in Rockdale, Tig, and Fairfield. When Mr. G was a coach, he coached both varsity football and baseball. He received his Master's of Education from Stephen F. Austin State University. Mr. G left coaching to become a principal so that he could have the opportunity to make a positive impact on as many children as possible. At times, Mr. G has missed teaching and coaching but loves what he does now. Mr. Gorski has been married to Mrs. Gorski for 21 years now, and he will be 22 in June. Mr. G has 2 kids and 1 dog.
His son Cooper is 20 and is a sophomore at Texas A&M. His daughter Callie Jade is 19. She is a freshman at Belen College.
Mr. G's black lab is named Paxton.
He grew up in the woods with his dad and grandfather, and they taught him the importance of conservation and being stewards of the land. He enjoys the peace and quiet of being in the woods, hunting or fishing, and it gives him some time to relax. He also loves camping with other hunters, telling stories, and learning new things. Mr. Garaszewski is a huge baseball fan, and his favorite team is the Texas Rangers.
Mr. G loves being the principal at Fairfield Junior High.
In other news, let's turn to Lily to learn about the stuffed animal bungee jumping project. A couple weeks ago, Mr. Smith's classes did a project with Beanie Babies. The students had to put the correct amount of rubber bands tied to the Beanie Baby to make it not hit the ground but become close to coming in contact with the ground. Mr. Smith's classes had to work hard in the classroom for days so they could figure out averages and how many rubber bands they needed in order to keep their Beanie Baby alive. Mr. Smith says he wanted the kids to learn how to write equations the correct way. Here is Madison Farris with her point of view of the project. So, what was your favorite part about the project?
My favorite part was being able to drop the Beanie Babies off the side of the stadium.
So, what did this project have to do with math?
It helped us and the entire class be able to take our data that we recorded from the dropping the rubber bands and be able to put it in equations.
So, how many rubber bands did you exactly know how many rubber bands went on each Beanie Baby?
No. Me and my group, we took a guesstimate on how many rubber bands it would take to drop it off.
Thank you, Madison. Mr. Smith's classes learned how to write correct equations while having fun. That's it for this week.
See you next time.